This Raptor produces 758 horsepower and 600 pound-feet of torque. This is a very special episode of the Fast Lane Truck for one reason. Oh, this is ridiculous! Right here, there's a V8 powered Raptor that you can buy. That's right. And this particular truck is also supercharged. And I'm going to tell you all about it, how to get it, what it's like. And also at the end of the video, we're going to do a drag race in this field. Twin turbo V6 Raptor versus a supercharged V8. So Ben, please introduce yourself first.
Hi, Ben Norrell here of Pax Power, introducing our first product, the V8 Raptor.
Oh, just the V8 Raptor?
Just the V8 Raptor.
Wait a minute. Okay, so you gotta tell me everything about this, right? So what is this all about? How do I get a V8 Raptor?
Well, Ford isn't going to make it for you,
okay.
And they've made that clear. They're sticking with 6 cylinders.
Okay.
So we've heard the cries of all those people who want a V8, who want their Raptor to sound like a supercharged Mustang, so we built that truck for those enthusiasts.
If I was a customer, what do I have to do?
You're going to go to your dealership and you're going to buy one of those F-150s that they can't give away sometimes. Base trucks range from 40 to 55,000 is what we've found. And then send it to us where we're going to do the full Raptor conversion. We can also scale that back if you just want the Raptor suspension, we can do that. Or if you want to go all in, we can do the full conversion with the 758 horsepower supercharger.
Okay, so I go to the dealer and I can, let's say, XLT, crew cab, short bed or long bed, but short bed for now.
Correct.
Right, so 5.5 foot bed, and then 4-wheel drive,
yeah,
obviously.
Right.
And maybe a locker.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Okay, and I'll send it to you. All right, so then what happens?
3-4 weeks later, we'll send you pictures along the way, but you'll have a Ford Raptor made from your V8 F-150. It looks like a Raptor, it drives like a Raptor, performs like a Raptor, but gives you the sound you want and the simpler V8.
Why didn't you put the V8 right directly into a standard Raptor?
And that's a question we've been asked, I want to say 3 times a day since we've released this product, is people are saying, I've got a Raptor, I love everything about it except the engine, please put a V8 in it. To answer that question, while that's mechanically possible, we can get it in there, the engine mounts are going to work, we can get the transmission bolted up, many modules are in these trucks nowadays. It would be very hard to make all of those modules happy. They're used to seeing a turbo 6-cylinder, so they're looking for certain values from sensors and things like that. And to make all of those work as they should, and for it to be a 100% Raptor with a 5.0 would be cost prohibitive and maybe impossible.
You know the stock Raptor pretty well now. This is a 2018 model. It's got a twin turbocharged 3.5 liter V6 with a rating of 450 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. Now that rating is the highest among any half-ton truck you can currently buy. Of course, it's backed up by 10-speed automatic transmission. Of course, this has a 4-wheel drive system with a low-range transfer case, and on and on and on, including those KO2 BF Goodrich tires. But this is something different, because what happens here is you buy an F-150, or maybe you have a truck that's a couple years old. You could actually send it to Pax Power here in Texas, and they can do a couple things, right? They can start out with a suspension package, which they take 4 parts, suspension parts, everything that has to do with that, including the shocks with Fox, and they'll put it on your F-150, which makes the truck a little bit wider, obviously a little bit taller, and you have basically Raptor suspension on your F-150, but you have a V8 under the hood. All right, so walk me through the packages, right? So you have like 3 different levels.
The base package would be if you just want the V8 Raptor suspension, you want it to handle and perform like a V8 Raptor, but you're not as concerned with the body. In that case, that package is $7,500 and includes the control arms, those beautiful Fox shocks that you see on the trucks, leaf springs, hardware, all the extended parts to make it all work. And that package is $7,500. If you were to add up the retail cost of those parts, is $6,500, so we think that's a pretty good bargain. If you want to do the full conversion, that's $25,000, and that includes every factory fastener, all of the OEM body panels, which consist of the entire Ford Raptor front clip, and then we actually disassemble the bed, take it back to just the inner shell and build it back with Raptor sheet metal, and then paint it to match your factory truck.
So right now it looks like a Raptor. You got some aftermarket bumpers here.
Right.
Which could be an extra thing, right?
Yes, our $25,000 includes the factory bumpers that you would see on Ford's truck, but since we're building a truck from almost scratch, it's a good opportunity to upgrade if you want to do lighting upgrades, bumpers, wheels and tires like you see on this truck. And on the bumpers, we'll give you a credit towards these bumpers, so it actually makes them a little more cost manageable.
So the 5-liter Coyote, right?
Yeah, great engine, proven in a lot of platforms, and works well supercharged.
Okay, and how did you pick the supercharger, the Whipple?
They've proven that they are both the leader in terms of product design. Their kit produces an OEM-like component once it's installed, and their tuning works really well. Just a really good track record, support, and this is something that's going to last the life of your vehicle and not have issues.
How about the 0 to 60, basically at sea level? Right now I'm at about 300 feet above sea level, basically at sea level. So I'm using 4-wheel drive auto, sport mode, traction control off, and I'm gonna brake torque it just a smidge, and I'll see what happens with the solo DL. Okay, 5.26. That's quick. I think the stock Raptor we tested at altitude did 6.17. So that's a second quicker in a crew cab truck. That's really impressive. But check it out, on the Platinum truck, they got the Raptor logo in the center. So you can actually go into the software and actually tweak it a little bit. So there you go, Raptor. But so the pricing works out this way. So let's say I bought a truck for 40 grand. It's a crew cab 4x4, regular F-150, and then I went with your body and suspension,
right? Which
is 4 components.
Correct.
That's what, $25,000?
Correct. So
right now I'm at 65.
Right.
Right.
Which it's tough to find a Raptor at 65.
Yeah, fully loaded Raptor could push 70 or maybe more.
Right.
Interesting. And then finally this with a supercharger and some of the custom touches. What would something like this be?
Well, if we start with a fully loaded Platinum, this truck is the highest trim you can get in a 5.0 from Ford. We're pushing 6 figures, somewhere in the 100, 105 range. But compared to what we think is out there on the market with much less horsepower and higher price, we like where we are.
If you don't have the money for the supercharger, maybe you can ask them also for a tune. And that's the beauty of the aftermarket. You can create your own truck, you can tweak it the way you want it, you can do the wheel and tire package the way you want it, exhaust the way you want it. But you end up with basically what is a V8 power Raptor. The factory Raptor is actually a really great truck already, but if it had an Achilles heel, it would be the sound that engine, the twin turbo V6 generates. But that's not the problem here. Check it out. was gonna call it the classic TFL truck Rev Battle, but I don't know if it's gonna be much of a battle. Well, let's hear. One thing that's really different between these two trucks is in the stock Raptor, you're getting the stock Raptor interior, right? Which comes with this unique steering wheel. You got the big paddle shifters. You also have the Baja mode here. But let me show you inside of the Pax Power V8 Raptor. There are a couple of neat details. This happens to be a Platinum F-150, so you have a Platinum interior. But I think this is the beautiful part of this V8 conversion, or actually a truck conversion, is that you can have whatever interior you want. A base truck, King Ranch, potentially? Or any other trim level of the F-150, but you still have the four-wheel drive automatic mode, 4 high, 4 low, rear locker, so you can reproduce a lot of the other modes that are in the stock Raptor.
We wanted to make sure that when we built this prototype and took it and showed the world, that it not only had all of the creature comforts and technology that a Raptor had, but then some. So in this truck you get the full leather seating, you get massaging seats, power steps, and still all the good technology like the full length roof, the 360-degree camera, hill descent, various modes for the 10-speed transmission, things like that.
Into the future, like what customer builds are you doing?
We're going to be doing a King Ranch, play off of the two-tone that the Raptor has with the gray accents, but maybe bring that tan in from the Ford King Ranch. Also, we're going to try to get, you mentioned any F-150, we're going to try to modify some XLT trucks and show kind of how a budget build can be done. Okay. How a guy can have a custom V8 Raptor of his dreams for the same price point as possibly a stock Raptor. So we're really trying to show what can be done with this platform. We started with a Platinum, but now we want to show within the F-150 range, possibly the largest range of trucks there is, what all is possible.
So you chose an open country Toyo, right?
Right.
For this truck.
Absolutely.
But what can the customer choose? Any wheel tire package?
Correct.
You're not limiting that.
Yeah, really the sky's the limit on that, because an OEM wheel from Ford, like what's on the truck over there, is actually going to be pretty expensive. And since we're starting from scratch and taking off those small street tires that are going to come on an F-150, really it's a good opportunity to choose whatever wheel and tire fits the customer's taste or what their needs might be.
When the second gen Raptor came out, Ford was saying that the frame is somehow different or more reinforced in the Raptor versus the F-150. What have you found here?
Well, for the main chassis legs, we find that those are almost identical, similar holes made out of the same construction. On the first gen Raptors, one of the weak points was that the shock mounts on the rear would sometimes suffer failures. We found that it looks like Ford in 2015 adopted that design when into the F-150, and that also made it into the second gen Raptor. So for the rear suspension, we're not noticing anything different. On the front, everything is the same in terms of the frame. However, the top strut mounts are in a slightly different location on the Raptor versus the F-150 chassis.
So driving around here, right, we're using Gen 1 shocks, so first generation Fox shocks from the first gen Raptor, and you have it lifted in the front.
Right, and the rear shocks are Gen 2 shocks.
So I can sense it's a little stiffer maybe up front. But it's natural, right? Because it's lifted, compressed a little?
Right, exactly. Whenever you do a spacer lift like this, you compress the spring a couple of inches to achieve that 3 inches of lift, and as such, you get a little bit of an over crank spring. So a little bit on the ride quality, but you get that extra altitude adjustment. look at a factory shock on an F-150, especially the rear, it's just a black tube. It weighs a pound or two. I think Ford sell it to you for $20. These Fox shocks are anything but. They're internal bypass. They're 2.5 to 3 inches in diameter. Retail for well over $1,000 a corner. So a whole different ball game in terms of ride quality, and much of it comes from the shocks.
Well, tell me what you have to do to the bed, because it's not as simple as just like putting a fender on, right?
No, Ford does a really good job of putting these beds together, so I have my work cut out for me in taking them apart. There's literally hundreds of rivets, spot welds, and glue marks that I have to reverse engineer to take the bed sides off. And as you look in this bed, you'll see that the inner fender liners aren't shiny. That's how far into the bed I have to do. I do the inner and then actually put on the outer Ford aluminum sheet metal on the outside. So pretty much build it how Ford would have built it at the factory, but I've got to start with an F-150 bed.
So what are the exhaust options and like bumper options?
If the guy wants the ultimate sound, we have this dual exhaust package. If they want to keep it quiet, there's a number of single exits we can do. We can also hide the tips, and then all vehicles will come with the factory Ford bumper, but there's endless options in terms of aftermarket bumpers like these from Fab 4. We talked about Addictive Desert Designs earlier, and so really the options are limitless in terms of accessories.
You're using the same components, right?
Absolutely.
So how are you getting them?
We go to our Ford dealer and buy all of these parts new. If you think about it, a lot of the parts would be similar parts that would be replaced in the case of an accident, such as fenders, bumpers, grills, things like that. So they are available from Ford in good quantities. And so we get a couple of truckloads full of brand new parts and build this truck just as Ford would have done it.
What if something happens? What about warranty?
Right, that's always the biggest concern when you buy a new vehicle and modify it. What happens to my warranty? Well, one reason that we chose the OEM Ford parts was not only the quality of the finished product, was that Ford offers a 2-year unlimited mile, pretty much no questions asked warranty on all of their parts. And that warranty also includes labor. So if we sell one of these trucks several states away and maybe a shock develops a leak, under Ford's warranty you can take it in there, get it replaced, and they'll actually cover the warranty as well.
What about the engine or the supercharger in this case?
Right, so obviously bolting a supercharger on, Ford is not going to honor the powertrain warranty on that. But luckily Whipple Superchargers has taken care of that, and they offer a 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty that we can add on.
So it's a little bit extra?
Yeah, it's about $1,000, but for those that want the peace of mind, it's a good investment. These 5.0s are well proven, and there's a lot of them on the road supercharged. So hopefully one of those things you don't need, but maybe nice peace of mind to have.
I got myself a supercharged V8 Raptor. I can't believe Ben is letting me drive it like this. Thanks, Ben. This Raptor produces 758 horsepower, 600 pound-feet of torque at the crank, and 4-wheel drive auto, traction control off. Oh, that's ridiculous! What just happened? I got tunnel vision. You know what extra power does? Ridiculous power like this? It basically spoils you. That was an easy launch, a little bit of slip. It was just nuts.
Ford has a lot of little variances. I mean, they make from single cab work trucks all the way to these Platinum and Limited trucks at the top end, and there are little differences along the way in terms of wiring. I mean, one that may seem trivial, but one of the big obstacles we had to deal with was the antenna wire. They were just much different setups between the two trucks, and had to come up with a mix of the two to make it work. And there were often times when we would have to buy 3 parts to see what combination was going to work, because I can assure you Ford isn't publicizing the exact differences between the trucks.
Okay, so you did some research and development on this. You're telling me like the lights sometimes don't match up, the camera system, right? All that stuff.
Yeah, we've had to overcome, and we still have to, we're working to get the truck used to having Raptor lights instead of platinum lights, but for the most part we've got lane departure functioning as it should, blind spot monitoring, the front camera, the adaptive cruise control, so we've been able to keep a lot of those factory modules working and happy and all those features working. And like we talked about, that's the main reason we didn't do the 5.0 swap into the existing Raptor.
So do I want a V8 Raptor? Well, hell yeah, I want one. But how would I configure mine? Well, I think I would go for more of a budget build, maybe an XLT or a Lariat. Is that crazy? Well, let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, let us know how you think this truck sounds. And go back to tfltruck.com for more news, views, and real-world V8 Raptor reviews.